Hey guys, Bryan here from Liquid Concepts. So today we're going to talk a little bit about film measurements. And so we've got asked the question a lot about how much film do you really need for the part that you're dipping. So let's hopefully help you guys out, figure out how much film that you're going to need for whatever part that you're dipping. And then that way you know whenever you're ordering and also whenever you're laying it on the water or whenever you're cutting it out on your table, how much film you actually need for the part that you're dipping. So we've got a film here. This is our dark leopard, just a regular film that we've got. And I've got a couple of different items that we're going to kind of measure out. So we've got a valve cover. We just do these in training. So of course, yours probably won't look like this, but we've got a valve cover here. We've also got one of our speed shapes. Pretty simple, straightforward design, just a little bit of a little bit tall, so not very much over the top like that, but just a simple curved shape. And so of course we use these for samples, but even so, you still have something like this for like the under hood of a car or something like that that's in like a fuse box or something like that. So this will be a good one to show, as well as we've got a hard hat. A lot of customers, they dip hard hats, things like that. So we'll kind of show you guys a few things on how to measure out for a lot of these. So of course, we'll start off with the normal one. So, just a small little piece here. So a little piece like this, what I always try to tell a lot of my customers is always give yourself extra room. And so if you were to dip this right now, and you did not give yourself any room for expansion or air or anything like that, then you would need to be like right there across to right here. And so then we would lay our tape like right there. And then of course we would come down here and then lay it out. And so then it would be right there. Now that is very, very tight. There's almost no room for anything to wrap around and it get all the way around it. And so we want to make sure that whenever we're laying out our film, that we have plenty of room for expansion, as well as let's say that we got this corner right here messed up and it went underwater. That's not a big deal. I can still move my dip over here and still get a good dip. And so a lot of the times whenever we're laying out our film, I always try to recommend at least 1 to 2 inches extra all the way around. And so if we go back and we do the same thing, we'll leave this one here just so you can kind of see, and I use a different tape. And so now if I give myself a couple of inches of room over here, and then of course I roll the part over, then now I'm actually somewhere in this area right here. So then that way, whenever this comes over, I've got a couple of inches of room over here, got a couple of inches of room over here. And I'm going to do the same thing all the way around. So of course with this right here, I'm going to back that up to something like that. And then of course we're going to put that right there. So in reality, even if I was doing this today, I would still cut out a piece of film that's this big instead of a piece of film that's this big. And so yes, we are wasting more film, but the more and more that you do the hydrographics, you'll notice and you'll see that things don't always happen exactly perfect. And so sometimes you'll get water, like I said, that'll come over a corner. Sometimes you'll get a bubble that's like right in here. And so by having that extra overage around your part, you're able to still make the dip in the film that you did without having to recut a whole separate piece. So we're now over here and over here, so we've used this much film instead of trying to really cut it short. And then that way, whenever something happens like that, you don't have enough film to actually dip the object. So definitely want to make sure that you give yourself at least 1 to 2 inches all the way around the film. And so, like I said, with this one, it's pretty easy. We'll roll it from one side to the other, come here, and then roll it back. Not a big deal. Now, this one is going to be a little bit different. Sometimes we'll see customers where they will put it down and then they'll pretty much give themselves a couple of inches over here, a couple of inches over here, and then they'll of course put the tape like that. That's actually not going to be long enough. And so the reason for that is because whenever you go and you dip this, you have to have enough film for the film to stretch up this side, across the top, and down the other side. And so you want to make sure that you have plenty of film for that. And so in reality, instead of it being right there, then what's going to happen is we're going to give ourselves a couple of inches of room over here, roll that over, and then roll that over again. And so then still a couple of inches, we'll set that like that. And so now we have a lot more surface area for that film to wrap around the object without having it stretch. Now, will the film stretch around that object? Yeah, it will, but it's going to void out that pattern so bad that it's not really going to look that great, especially in carbon fiber and really directional patterns like that. You want to make sure that you have plenty of room for excess all the way around, so then that way you have as much of the film to let it stretch around the object as much as possible. So same thing on these edges up here, we're not going to leave a couple of inches and leave it like that. We're actually going to set it down right here, 2 or 3 inches, even something like that right there. We're going to walk it down and then pick it right back up. And so now I'm actually going to cut my film way back over here instead of over here. So then that way I have plenty of room for that film to come up the sides and then the front and the back and everywhere that we're dipping, so then that way we have plenty of room all the way around. All right, so of course we got the valve cover. Now let's take a look at the hard hats. So hard hats are going to be very similar to the valve cover. We want to make sure that we have at least a couple of inches all the way around. So we'll take it from here, set it down, and then we just want to roll it just like that, because of course we want to make sure that we get all of this area all the way around and have the least amount of stretch. So we'll take that, roll it around. Our film will be somewhere cut right around in here, and then the same thing, we're going to do the same thing right here. So we're going to give ourselves a couple of inches of room on the back side and a couple of inches of room on the front side, so then that way we can cut ourselves a square across here and across here, so then that way we have plenty of room to dip the entire helmet and have the least amount of stretch as possible. Now, is this going to stretch? Yes, it's going to stretch because of the way and the shape that it's made, but we try to help minimize that, so then that way it doesn't have as much stretch whenever we have an extra amount of film to go from the top and then stretch all the way down the entire sides of it. So sometimes you may actually use more than what's necessary. And so what I mean by that is cups are a really good example. So if you have a cup, then you're going to need even more room to be able to fit your hands in the film. So in reality, you're not going to use that 2 or 3 inches, 1 to 2 inches that you've got on each side. You're now going to use like 4 to 6 inches on each side, because you have to be able to fit your hands comfortably down into it. And so let me show you. Let me grab a cup right quick. Okay, so we've got a cup. So this is just going to be a paint mixing cup, which is going to be pretty much the exact same with any of the Yeti cups, tumblers, stainless steel things, anything like that. But normally the way that you would dip it is you'd go down and then of course you spin it. And so if we were going to be dipping this in the water, then we would have a couple of inches over here, a couple of inches over here. And so in reality, this is all the film that we would need to dip that cup on this size. Now, of course, if we have this right here, we'll set it down here and then a couple of inches, and then we'll roll it 180. Now, again, you got to think, we're already dipping it down half and then we're rolling it half. So that's how you'll know how much material that you need. So we'll put the logo back here, and then we'll move the logo out to right here, and then maybe cut it something like this right here. So in reality, this is all the film that we actually need for this cup, but whenever we're actually doing the job, we need a lot more. And the main reason is because I can't fit my hands down in here comfortably because my dividers are sitting right here and right here. So in reality, what I would need is I would need at least 4-6 inches of film, depending on how comfortable you are with getting your hands in tight places. And then the other thing is of course we need it on the other side. So in reality, we'll have say 3 to 4 inches, 5 inches over here, same thing over here. So in reality, we might actually need to cut a film that is this big just to be able to do a cup that is this big. But if you notice, I can actually fit my hands comfortably where the dividers will be right here instead of right here. And so then I'll have a divider here, and then I can take and fit my hands comfortably in here and still get a good dip all the way around. So hopefully that has really helped you out with figuring out how much material and how much film that you're gonna need for the Hydrographics. If you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them below. We'd love to hear from you. Also, if you haven't already, definitely hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you subscribe to our weekly tips and tricks. I'm Bryan from Liquid Concepts, and this is how we customize your world. We'll see you guys next time.